You are listening to the Lovable Losers Podcast.
Well, as we stand on the edge of 2017, this episode is going to cover a brief recap. This will not be your standard year in review show. Sure, we had a new administration take over, protests, travel ban, apparently statues doing some racist things, more protests, some dudes with tiki torches doing the Idiots March, hurricanes causing mass damage, tragic mass shootings, major allegations of sexual misconduct, and not to be dismissive, more bad, sad, and some just flat out ignorant events. If any of the events directly affected you or those close to you, all we can do is send out condolences and hope. Though it may not seem like it, that's what you want to hear, we just hope that your situation improves in the upcoming year. For those that have lost important people in our lives this year, that can only come to mind is the dead doesn't mean disappeared. So long as we keep them in our hearts, they'll always be with us. And for the rest of us that watch the events unfold vicariously, let us change the mood with some feel-good stories of 2017.
Some of the good stuff in 2017, guys. We're going to talk about some of the awesome stuff that happened this year, instead of going through all the bad stuff that happened this year. Take it along, Ray.
Okay, well, first one's a doctor opens an office. An eye doctor in Grand Rapids, Michigan went above and beyond the call of duty to provide care for an elderly patient. Dr. Yosef Gindins of Grand Rapids Ophthalmology opened his office up on a Saturday so that he could give his patient a crucial eye injection, and he even carried her through the unplowed snow in the parking lot. My mom was in the hospital the last 3 days and had to miss her crucial every 4-week eye injections to treat wet macular degeneration. Marie Havigan said, "If she goes longer than 4 weeks, her eyes can bleed and she can permanently lose her vision." So to preserve her eyesight, what Dr. Yosef did, he opened his office on a Saturday so he could give her the injections. And because the parking lot isn't plowed on weekends, they couldn't get her wheelchair through the snow. So what does this doctor do? He picks her up, carries her from her car into the office, gives her injections, and carries her back.
Oh, that's a good doctor, man.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna see a lot of doctors do that shit.
Yeah, but that's someone that cares, definitely.
Yeah, that is somebody that cares, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good story. That was one of the good things about this year, guys.
Yeah.
And that happened. When was that?
Back in December. It was all 2017, but this just happened this last month.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's a good one. We got another one for you about an MLB pitcher. He donates $9 million mansion to people with special needs. I already like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Texas Ranger pitcher Cole Hamels and his wife Heidi are donating their $9 million mansion and 100 acres of land in southwest Missouri to a charity that provides camps for children and with special needs and chronic illness. The Hamels are gifting the 32,000 square foot home located near Table Rock Lake to Camp Barnabas. There are tons of amazing charities in southwest Missouri. Out of all of these, Barnabas really pulled on our heartstrings. Cole Hamill said, "Seeing the faces, hearing the laughter, reading the stories of the kids they serve, there is truly nothing like it. Barnabas makes dreams come true, and we felt called to help them in a big way." Camp Barnabas said that the gift was the largest donation in the history of the organization. "Our mission is to change lives through disability ministry, and we've strategically looking for ways to expand our ministry outside of summer camps," said Summer Camp Barnabas CEO Jason Bronner. "We have no doubt that this gift will allow us to do just that."
You know, that's an amazing thing, but also Table Rock Lake is a beautiful location, man.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, it's basically like the Secret of Missouri. I think Ozark, actually, the TV show Ozark might have covered a little bit on that area.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a beautiful area, and those kids are going to have a great time in their new home, and that's really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. And speaking of good stuff, We have a dental technician whose name is Kevin Shanahan. He sets up his equipment outside the General Post Office in Dublin, Ireland, after work every Friday evening. And he spends his free time fitting dentures for the city's homeless, and then he puts in hours of work each week to create them in his lab. When you look at someone with no teeth, they've lost their confidence. They've lost a bit of dignity, Shanahan said. When you give someone teeth, you give them a little bit of confidence, and you'll find they'll smile more. So you're building a person from the inside out. He sees about 20 people during each session, while other volunteers give free haircuts and serve hot meals. That's awesome.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty good.
Yep.
We got another one for you. It's a New Jersey man pays off $10,000 worth of layaway at the local's Toys R Us. Now that's some in the holiday spirit right there.
That's
man.
baller right there, my friend.
Yeah.
What do they say?
A New Jersey man is making sure kids' Christmas wishes get fulfilled this year. A man who goes by Charlie K walked in a Cherry Hill store, said he wanted to pay off all the layaway orders. Charlie ended up covering 62 orders, a total of $10,000. Just to try to bring some happiness to people. That really it. Help bring back the community that brought so much happiness to me and my family, Charlie said. Jessica J showed up planning to pay full price for a big box of toys set aside for her kids. They come over and tell me someone actually paid the layaway. Jay told CBS Philly, "It's definitely an early Christmas, and I want to say thank you to the gentleman that came in and donated. It's like the best feeling. Thank you." But his good deed didn't end there. Charlie also had everyone in the store choose 3 items for him to purchase for Toys for Tots.
Wow.
Damn, that is.
And you know, the funny thing is,
selfless stuff.
it is very selfless. That's very selfless. But you also, I can't remember where it was, but I also heard a story that actually around this time as well, someone paid off a few Walmart layaways too.
Yes, I heard that too.
That's
I was
awesome,
about
man.
to say Walmart. I was about
Yeah.
to say Walmart right now, and it said Toys R Us.
Yeah, so I mean, but people do that. People with money, especially, they just believe in that anonymous stuff. I mean, they don't want the credit. They just want to do something right. And
Yeah, do something that helps your community. That's
That's really awesome. Speaking about awesome people, a homeless man in New Haven, Connecticut, who returned a $10,000 check has been rewarded with cash, a home, and a job interview. 2 weeks ago, Elmer Alvarez returned a lost check for $10,000 to successful businesswoman Dr. Roberta Hosky. Hosky took to Facebook Live as she met up with Alvarez. He has absolutely no idea what's about to happen, she said. First, Hosky presented him with a certificate of appreciation to recognize his honesty. She then offered him a full scholarship to the Outreach School of Real Estate, for which she's the president and CEO. She also gave him contact information for one of her partners who was waiting to interview Alvarez to provide him with work. Then, an unexpected gift. "You don't have to worry about being in the cold," she told Alvarez. "We have housing for you." He teared up and said, "Thank God." His rent will be paid for the next 6 months. But Hosky had one stipulation for Alvarez: pay it forward. When you get on your feet, you go ahead and you do it for the next person, and the next person, and the next person, she told him. Wow.
Now that tugged at my heart right there.
Yeah, not just a little bit of cash, but a job and a place to live.
For him to give up that $10,000 check.
Well, yeah. I mean, then again, depending on the check, unless it was a cashier's check, he probably couldn't cash it. But
Yeah, but still.
it just tells you if he went to the effort to return that.
Yes, he went to the effort to return that. And man, there's all kinds of crooked people that'll cash that damn check.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll cash that damn check.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure he.
Plenty of establishments that would do it too, smaller.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but smaller
unsavory,
businesses, yeah.
unsavory ones, yeah.
Yeah, but no, man, that took a lot for him to do that. So, senior surprises special needs classmates with brand new shoes. A senior at Lancaster High School in Lancaster, Texas, made the day of 2 classmates with special needs when he surprised them both with a brand new pair of shoes. They told me they liked my shoes, and I promised them I would get them some, so I did. Roderick Mattis said.
Wow, a high school kid doing that for 2 other kids. That's amazing.
That is even more surprising than I thought.
Yeah,
you think sometimes kids, especially at that age in high school, they're so selfish. Most of them. I'm not saying all of them. I mean,
well, not everyone was like us, a bunch of jerks.
Yeah,
I gotta admit, when I was that. But there's a lot of really good kids out there.
Yeah, there is, man.
That gives me hope for the
They have
future.
pretty big hearts. They have pretty big hearts.
Definitely. Speaking of kids, A teenager's good deed was caught on video when he returned a wallet with $1,500 inside to its owner after finding it in the street. Melissa Vang of Elk Grove, California, was home with her 2 young children when she heard someone knock at the front door. Fearing the worst, she ignored it. What she saw later on her surveillance camera surprised her. A young man had found her husband's wallet full of cash and returned it to her doorstep. Vang would later find out that Tyler Opdyke, 18, was passing out flyers for pest control in a neighborhood. He had found the wallet containing $1,500 cash lying on the driveway. God bless this young man's heart, Vang wrote on Facebook. My husband dropped his wallet with hundreds of dollars and all his credit cards in our driveway, and this gentleman picked it up and left it at our doorstep after waiting a few minutes. Because I wouldn't open the door for strangers, I later found him, thanked him, and rewarded him for his kind gesture. It's sad that I didn't trust him to open my door when he was just doing a good deed, Vang continued. Sadly, this is the world we live in today. We hear so many terrible news and barely any good. I think we all need to be reminded there are still good people out there. His act of kindness cannot go unrecognized. Opdyke, the teenager, admits he's about to start college and he was excited at the thought of so much cash. But, I quote, I've been raised in the church all my life and I feel this is not mine, said Opdyke. I don't know their family and I don't know where they're going through. So the young man returned the wallet.
That is, man.
That would have been easy to get away with, honestly, because the camera's rolling on the
cash.
porch. Yeah, it's cash,
man.
bro. Cash. Yeah.
You could have got away with that so easily.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, that is, man. That's that is a reminder of there are good people still out there. Man.
Oh, definitely. There's some good people still out there.
Stranger buys new barbershop for a man who gives free haircuts to the homeless. Brennan Jones, a 29-year-old who lives in Philadelphia, started haircuts for the homeless. About 1 year ago, he said that the missions came from my heart. Me personally, I surpassed 1,000 haircuts, so many I stopped counting. So it's been a good year so far, Jones told Fox 5 Philly. People began to notice people like Sean Johnson, a man Jones had never met. We found out, well, I need to be a part of that. I need to see what I can do to help, Sean Johnson said. Johnson decided to give Jones the keys to the fully renovated, basically new barbershop that will offer services to those in need. He gave Jones the shop for free of charge. He said, listen, I've got a building I want you to come check out. He said, do you like this place? I said, yeah, I like it. He tossed me the keys and said, it's yours, Jones recalled. Johnson himself knows about the path from struggle to success, having to rebuild his life. From incarceration to successful owner of Taper Barbershop, Johnson planned on expanding down Old York Road to another shop he bought and renovated, but meeting Jones changed that. It wasn't about me giving a barbershop. When you look at the homeless and the things that they need, I looked at it as more. I built something and I want to keep people I built something and I want to see it keep going and I want to see it do great things, Johnson said. The new shop will open in November with set days to exclusively serve the homeless. Now Sean and his commitment and community building have partnered with Brennan, who previously had no idea how he could continue the haircut through the winter. I just continued to rely on my faith. God brought me this far. I know he is not going to leave me now, Jones said.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Wow. That is really something. Talk about paying it forward.
Yep. Talk about paying it forward, man. And you know what, man? We did have a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't hear these good things that do happen.
Well, because it's not, since it's, the news, any news, whatever you watch or whatever your opinions are, they sensationalize. That's how you sell the headlines. That's how you gotta.
That's
it's
why
gotta
they
be
don't care.
something.
That's why they don't give a shit what happens when
Yeah,
headlines.
they might do it at
just
the
know it
end,
sells.
but after all this bad stuff, which does happen, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I mean, everybody sees the bad stuff. There's bad out there and there's bad shit happening. We want to bring you the good stuff right now.
Exactly. Sometimes the simplest act of kindness. For example, a spring Boland stopped by the Walmart last Thursday and she was in the checkout line when an elderly gentleman in front of her pulled out a handful of change from his pockets. The gentleman's items were scanned and he was given the total, Boland said. He looks apologetically back at me and starts taking handfuls of change out of his pockets. Oh, I've been there. He miscounts and starts to get flustered. He looked back at Boland again and muttered, I'm so sorry. His hands and voice are shaking. This beautiful cashier takes his hands and dumps all the change on the counter and says, this is not a problem, honey. We'll do this together, Bullen recalls. The cashier finally finished his transaction and the man shuffled away. I looked at this wonderful woman and said, "Thank you for being so patient with him." She shakes her head and replies, "You shouldn't have to thank me, baby. What's wrong with our world if we've forgotten how to love one another?" Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is really awesome. Matter of
That
fact,
is, man, and you know people forget that.
Yeah.
We're supposed to help people in need, man.
exactly. And I've been in a situation where I've seen someone count with change, man, and they'll play say sorry, like you got nothing to be sorry for. I said, I got nothing to do all day, man. I said, hey, just take your time and do what you got to do. And you know, we get so much in a rush nowadays, in a hurry, that, oh my God, I can't believe they pay for change.
It's because we live in a society that's here now. We want it now.
Well, yeah, but then you got to remember, I mean, I've been in that situation where I paid for things with change. That's all you got. That's the only value, monetary value you have to your name to buy something that you need or to eat, you know? It's just, I mean, that's really nice to see.
Yeah, and people forget about their struggles. Most of the people I know have been through that.
Yeah.
We've all been through there.
Yeah.
We're in need, man.
Exactly.
And it takes your fellow humans to help you out.
Don't make the person feel bad in front of you for paying with change, man.
I've been there too. I've
Exactly.
paid in change. I've been without a home before.
Yep.
I've had to live with my parents before.
Yeah.
I've been without a vehicle before, and it's not fucking fun.
No.
And people just like, ugh. They
Yeah.
look at it like
That ugly
like
attitude
it's-
can
yeah,
make
that
or change your day.
fucking Ugly attitude, man.
Yeah.
And it's horrible to hear, especially when you're in need. Because you know what?
Exactly.
Eventually, everybody will be in need.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're old and you're rich and you've been rich all your life, what's gonna happen when you're older and you can't do things for yourself? You're gonna
Yeah.
be in fucking need.
And everyone deserves compassion, regardless of what their
Everyone
status.
deserves-
Everyone
yeah.
deserves compassion.
Yeah, but you're gonna get to that point where you're in need.
Yep.
And I'm glad that all these stories right here are showing the examples of people being kind to other people in need.
It's all about helping others.
Yes, man. Man wrongfully accused reads law books in prison, becomes lawyer, and helps free innocent people. Shit! The lawyer recently helped overturn an innocent man's conviction in the same state that years ago had sentenced him to prison for a crime he did not commit. Jaron Adams was wrongfully convicted of sexual assault at age 17 and sentenced to 28 years in maximum security prison. Inside prison, Adams met a cellmate who worked for the prison's law library and encouraged him to try to get his conviction overturned. It's only going to take a second before you have tattoos on your face and have given up completely and don't care about it at all. You need to go down swinging, he told Adams. Adams took his advice and started reading law books. Then he got in touch with the attorney Keith Finley with the Wisconsin Innocent Project and the state chapter of nonprofit devoted to justice for wrongfully convicted people. Adams' sentence was eventually overturned and charges dropped for the exact reason that he had found in prison law library books: ineffective assistance of counsel. A month after he was set free in 2007, Adams enrolled in a community college, went to earn his bachelor's degree, and attended law school, passing the bar in 2015. Now that is a story to come back from. That is a bounce back story like no other.
No kidding. Talk about resilience. This guy wasn't guilty, spent time in prison, then gets out, doesn't go crazy or anything. What he does is he goes right back into the books and does another 8-year stint to get his law degree.
And then another
Yeah, he did his
trying to
8
go out his cellmate pushed him to do
Yep,
it.
his cellmate pushed him to do it. Instead of saying, no, man, you're stuck, you're here.
You're fucking stuck here. Give up.
Give up. Wow,
No,
that's
man,
really
that
awesome.
that is an awesome story. I like that one.
Yep. Man, speaking of that, here's another profession that really did something great. A Houston dentist met a U.S. Air Force veteran who was struggling with dental issues and decided to surprise him with $15,000 worth of dental work. Retired Staff Sergeant David Tyler Harmon met dentist David Nugent at the local gym. Harmon decided to visit Nugent for a routine cleaning, but he didn't realize it would turn into weeks of dental work. I came in for a cleaning and he's like, my goodness, Harmon told Fox 26. And I start telling him all the pain I'm in. Harmon's pain stemmed from severe teeth grinding due to head trauma he suffered while serving in the U.S. Air Force. There was an infection in his gum tissue, a lot of cracked teeth everywhere, and a lot of crowding. A lot of grinding problems, Nugent said. The dental work came to a grand total of $15,000, and Harmon would need help from the Veterans Administration to pay for the procedures. Instead of waiting months for the paperwork to go through, Nugan wanted to help him immediately and cease his pain, so he took care of the bill and went to work. When he heard me say that I couldn't pay the bill, he came in and he was like, "Don't charge him anything," said Harmon as he broke into tears. Nugan said it was the least he could do. "All veterans are heroes," said Nugan. "They give up so much for this country, and whatever I can do just to help him out a little bit, it's all worth it to me." Wow.
That
Wow.
is, yeah, man.
$15,000, man.
That pulls with those little water valves in your eyes, right?
Yeah, it does, man. That's awesome. That is really awesome. That's good stuff.
That is really good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, brother buys 5-ton truck named the Punisher on Craigslist to rescue Harvey victims. Two brothers from San Antonio purchased a 21,000-pound truck on Craigslist just so they could help people in Houston. Brad Morris and Adam Morris were trying to figure out how they could help victims of Hurricane Harvey when their cousin, a Houston police officer, gave them a tip. "We've got boats, but we need high water trucks." So Brad and Adam got on Craigslist, purchased a $13,000 truck called the Punisher. The two brothers, along with their brother-in-law, drove the 5-ton axle truck to Houston to help with the citizens' rescues. The brothers rescued dozens of people, often wading into wastewater, while other citizens rescuers paddled by speedboats, kayaks, and canoes. "Couldn't sit around and just watch people suffer," Brad Morris told PBS. It's a Texas pride, I guess.
I want to see that truck, especially if it's around here. I want to see that truck.
I'm telling you, man. We were just talking about this before we recorded, guys.
Yeah.
I could have swore I saw that truck.
I just want to get a picture with it.
I swore I saw that damn truck, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a trooper right there, man.
Yeah, but that's what happens when bad things happen, man. You get a lot of people, instead of running away from it, they like to run towards and help their fellow man, I guess you could say. That is very good.
Mm-hmm. That is the greatest thing. We saw it this year, where some of the bad stuff that we talked about earlier come in, and a lot of the good stuff comes out of it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, here's something I definitely was hoping. I was hoping I would find something on and kind of stumbled upon it. This was during the inauguration back in January, all the way back in January. So an African-American waitress in Washington, D.C. Found herself waiting on a table of white Texas men wearing cowboy hats. Just a few days earlier, waitress Rosalynda Harris had participated in the Women's March. The men were in town for Donald Trump's inauguration. After the cowboys left, Rosalynda was shocked to see the numbers on the receipt, a $450 tip on a $72.60 check. Along with the credible tip came a note. "We may come from different cultures and may disagree on certain issues, but if everyone will just share their smile and kindness like your beautiful smile, our country will come together as one people," the note reads. "Not race, not gender, just American. God bless." You automatically assume if someone supports Trump that they have ideas about you, Rosalind shared, but these men are more embracing than ever some of my more liberal friends. And there was a real authenticity in our exchange. This definitely reshaped my perspective. Republican, Democrat, liberal are all subcategories to what we are experiencing. It instills a lot of hope. "We all have the American spirit," said Jason White, the man who left the tip, "and it's really our duty to make America great ourselves, not one person. And that's by respecting and loving one another, no matter how much we disagree with them."
Wow.
I love that.
Wow, I really like that one too.
Wow, that is awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
It hits so close to home.
Get so close into labeling people and stuff. I mean, you're always not going to agree. Just like family, man. You're not going to agree. The thing is when people say, I've heard that term family, you don't have to like them. You got to love them. It's kind of the same thing.
It is the same thing.
Yeah.
You love your fellow American.
Yeah, you do, man.
You do. And it's great. It's great to know that other Americans that look like they disagree with you don't care about your belief systems or what you are, who you are, who you want to be. They just care because you're American.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. That's great.
Exactly.
So, here goes another one. 9-year-old gives up Xbox in exchange for... That was a question mark at the end. A 9-year-old boy from Beechwood, Ohio has learned that those who give selfless often receive unexpectedly. Micah Fry knows what poverty feels like. About 3 years ago, his family fell on hard times when they lost their home. They were forced to live in a shelter. Every day, Micah would get a blanket, and every day the shelter would have to take it back. That's sad. This year, when he saw some homeless people out in the cold, he did some quick math Now that his family was doing better, he knew he was getting a $300 Xbox this year for Christmas. He figured that a $10 blanket, he could buy 30 blankets instead of getting his Xbox. So instead of accepting the game system, he chose to buy blankets instead. He then gave away each of them to a homeless person in need. He knew that it was like not having a blanket at night and have to give it back, said his grandmother. So first thing he went on to do was give a blanket that they could keep. News of Mika's good deed spread quickly, catching the attention of Xbox manufacturer Microsoft. The company had decided to surprise Mika with a new console that was the same model and the one that he had traded for his blankets, and he was in tears. When they called and told me, I was just instantly crying on the phone, and I couldn't believe it, said Terry. What's harder was not telling him. Employees led Mika to the back of the store where Santa had bags full of gifts, including the converted Xbox. The family was emotional. It's just amazing. It's a blessing. Mika is a blessing to our family, and we thank you very much, Terry said.
Wow. Good kid right there.
Dad. Hey, man, when you know where you came from.
Exactly, and not forgetting where you came from.
Not forgetting
and,
where you came
know,
from,
the
man.
empathy.
And that's where that's built, man. And it's so shocking because he's so young to realize that.
Now, it goes back to caring, you know.
It does.
It goes back to caring.
Yeah, it really does.
Being concerned. Like,
and you know, even I forget about it sometimes.
Oh, I think we all do, man. I'm not gonna admit I'm not a saint by a long shot.
Yeah, no. I know I'm not. I have my vices.
Yeah, I know. I've
And
got
even
a lot.
I forget about it. And when I read
Exactly.
stuff like this, man, it just it brings me all the way back.
It makes you wonder when you gripe about not having certain things. Really? I mean,
Yeah.
there's people out there that
Yeah.
don't have places to live or a warm bed to sleep in, or like you said, a blanket.
Yeah, just as simple as a blanket.
It's just a matter of caring. Like, for example, if you're an hourly employee just doing your shift, not caring what happens, that's going to follow into this story. If it had not been for the sharp instincts of a Walmart employee, another unsuspecting senior may have been conned out of their savings because of a cleverly executed scam. Cecil Rogers of Cincinnati, Ohio, has been looking forward to spending Christmas with his family this year, until he received a phone call from someone claiming to be his oldest grandson. A voice comes on and says, "Paw, this is your oldest grandson. I'm in trouble," Rogers told WCPO of Cincinnati. He said, "I've hit a woman's car and she was 7 months pregnant, and they charged me with drunken driving and I'm in jail." Rogers' grandson, and I use that loosely, then put a lawyer on the phone who instructed the senior to send him a $2,300 for a bail bond through a direct store-to-store money transfer. Fearing for his grandson's well-being, Rogers headed to Walmart with the money in hand. Before he was able to make the transfer, however, Rogers briefly mentioned his grandson's situation to Audriella Taylor, the Walmart clerk who was managing his transaction. Taylor sensed that something was amiss. She told Rogers to go home and call his other family members to see if anyone else had heard about his grandson's accident. They had not. Rogers said that he is not a wealthy man, which is why he is relieved to be spending Christmas with his family without having to worry about the financial pitfalls that would come from losing $2,300. And it's all thanks to Taylor's quick thinking. Again, someone who cares and said, "Hey, wait a minute. Take care of that."
It wasn't his money he was losing.
Huh?
It wasn't his money.
That lady was, the clerk. Yeah, it wasn't.
Sorry.
The clerk, yeah, it wasn't the clerk, the Walmart clerk's thing. I mean, they were just going to do it. They said they do, but when they heard that situation, like, that don't sound right.
It doesn't
Come on.
sound right, man.
You know, they're pulling at your heartstrings. And especially when it comes to family, it's hard to think, but, you know, scams like that are
especially in
terrible.
situations like that, sometimes you're just quick to react without even thinking
Yeah.
about the situation. And I could see how I would have probably got tricked into it, not even knowing. You know what I mean?
That's why, I mean, they do things now with accidents and kidnappings, and it's terrible. I mean, there's a special place in hell for people like that, really.
There is
I
a
mean,
special place in hell.
But you know, the good thing about looking at all these stories, the beautiful thing was, folks, was there were so many stories. It was hard. This is just a fraction, a small fraction. And the great thing is, all these stories almost sound alike. The giving away of shoes, for example. There was just a story the other day, a couple of days ago, maybe about a week, where high school students got their money together and bought some work boots for their local janitor at this high school. You know, they
Really?
did that.
I didn't hear about
Yeah,
that.
and then, of course, there's one also that took place in Ohio where a young lady, I believe she was a college student / waitress, she'd, go to school, work part-time, was in a Foot Locker looking for shoes, and this young boy, I believe it was about a 10-year-old boy, comes up, because she's talking to the store clerk, and he just asked, "Hey, what's in this price range?" And there really wasn't any shoes in that kid's price range. So he kind of looks dejected. He's with his dad. So guess what this young lady does? She stops him and says, hey, pick any pair of shoes you want. Kid walks out with some LeBrons. And as it turns out, the kid was actually on a traveling basketball team, and that town was hit with a lot of factories and manufacturing plants closing down.
Oh,
so there wasn't a lot for kids to do, and she understood that. So she went ahead and she bought that kid right there with his dad a pair of shoes, man, so he could play basketball.
That is good shit right there.
That's a lot of good stuff, man. And of course, we had stories earlier on the podcast about the janitor that worked for his kids. Got free tuition, so he put 5 of his kiddos.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, there's always things like that, man. So many good stories, so many good things out there.
Stories. So when you think back to this year, and of course you're going to be the first things you're going to think about are the bad stuff this year, but these are some of the good stuff that happened this year that nobody really heard about. And we want to make sure that you know that, so you don't take this next year for granted. Makes you think a little bit about your fellow Americans.
Yeah, we're not wiping out any of these problems. I mean, we still got Puerto Ricans with our Americans without electricity and water. That's ridiculous.
South Padre Island, Port Arthur. We got Rockport here in Texas still suffering from the hurricanes that came also.
Yeah, but I mean, we got a small island that has no power electricity when we could definitely do that. But
and I know this is a little off, a little more off, but in the California wildfires.
Oh man, that's not ended yet. My goodness, it has not ended yet. One firefighter lost his life. People lost homes.
Suffering out there.
Yeah, I mean that's just But like I said, we pull together.
We'll pull together as a country, like we always do. Never fails. So I have full faith in us.
Of course, one more bad thing that happened in 2017, this podcast.
Yeah, that's what happens. We kind of got a little shutdown last week for our Christmas episode, everybody. On YouTube only, but you can listen to it on
copyright.
Castbox.
Yeah, but I mean, our podcast started this year, and hopefully 2018 will be here again next year.
Now we will
talking about the same thing.
year.
Hopefully there'll be someone different behind that computer, and things will be great.
Yeah, we can get another better co-host, maybe.
Co-host. I didn't know we were sharing this spotlight. But we'll talk about that later, my friend.
Yeah, we'll get off, guys. And we just want to wish everybody a happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thanks for sticking with us, and we'll be back
next week.
Next week in the new year. So everyone, thank you, and have a good New Year. Be safe.
Good night.
Good night.